Welcome to Primetime Analysis. I am Victor Onyango. Kenya Kwanza is a regime under serious turmoil. Yesterday evening, after a speech that Raila Odinga gave to the international journalists, William Ruto, while going to Tanzania, tweeted in his official Twitter handle and stated that he is off to Arusha, Tanzania, for a meeting, and he will be back today in the evening. And as always, his friend Raila Odinga is free to get in touch with him. This tweet sent shockwave across the whole of Kenya Kwanza Brigade. I can tell you that they were found unawares, because looking at the response that the major political leaders in that formation have been giving, you would be surprised to ask yourself certain questions. In fact, one would wonder, why would it be a big deal if Raila Odinga met with President Uhuru Kenyatta? More so looking at the current happenings in the country. But this has revealed one thing, that most of politicians in Kenya Kwanza are hardliners, and they are the people who do not want this country to move forward. Now, this reminded me of one quote that is attributed to Jackson Mandago, wakati alisema kwamba siasa usiweke kwa roho, you do not put it in your heart, kwa sababu things change. Today's allies are tomorrow's enemies. Now even look at it. For instance, ebu jiulize, right now President William Ruto, he is a founder member of ODM party. The person calling himself Chief Cabinet Secretary, Musalia Mudavadi, is also a founder member of ODM. And these two were deputy party leaders of ODM. So generally we can say that the people in government are ODM members, because all of them were deputy party leaders of ODM at some point. And look at many of them. The Speaker of the Senate, Amason Kingi, just left ODM the other day. He served, his last official government position was as a governor of ODM party. And therefore, for me, these politicians, there are a lot in common between them. There are a lot in common. And you'll realize that most of the hardliners are coming from the Mount Kenya region. They are those people who do not want to have space, because they have some dreams and shadows and ghosts of handshake that they are crying over. For me, I am open that meeting between Raila Odinga and William Ruto should go ahead. First of all, I think apart from addressing cost of living, the first thing that they should go and look at is the issue about police brutality that happened in Nyanza. I can tell you, people are suffering from the aftermath of that police brutality. And one thing that surprised me is that yesterday, the government through PS, Omolo, coming from that region, comes out and says that we lost one police officer, 330 something policemen were injured and are nursing injuries, 100 and something vehicles got lost. Where people protested, did they take those vehicles? So you end up asking yourself a lot of questions. But let me not go there. I want us to look at the reaction that people have had since William Ruto made this tweet. Now, yesterday, Ndindi Nyoro was in Citizen TV. He had an interview there just immediately after President had made that tweet. And looking at how he spoke and how his body language, you could tell that this is somebody who is not happy, somebody who is dumbfounded, somebody who is surprised. He is not aware, he is not sure, he does not even know how things are going to go from that state. I am telling you that even Rigathi Gachagua, where he is, while I have not seen his official communication, kindly watch this small clip of Ndindi Nyoro and please pay attention to his body language. Do not listen to what he's saying, just his body language alone.
In regards to the mediation, one, let me state some of the issues that we are looking at on our side. One is that the opposition have been purporting that the thuggish demonstrations that we saw were purportedly because of the high cost of living. The question we are asking the former Prime Minister is whether the said dialogue with the President of Tanzania was in regards to how Uga will come down, or was in regards to who gets what in terms of power sharing. And having said that, we have been very consistent, and I want to state very categorically now, from where I know and what I know from our side. We are willing to engage everyone because Kenya is for all of us. But there is one sphere that we are not willing to enter into. And that sphere is the sphere that we have seen in the recent past after every election. After every election, we have seen the people who lose purporting to want to get into government through other ways. Kenya is a democracy. There is only one route into governing Kenya. And that route is in the constitution. And that route in a democracy like Kenya is through the ballot. Maandamano, dialogue is not a route to any kind of government. And therefore, we can talk about everything, whether about everything else, but we will never talk about power sharing. We will never talk about opening the decision that Kenyans boldly put forward in the August of last year.
Okay. Do you confirm?
If you look at his body language, Ndindi Nyoro is surprised. Ndindi Nyoro is dumbfounded. Ndindi Nyoro is not happy. But then, try to listen to the speech he's trying to say. Instead of narrowing this thing down to a meeting between Raila Odinga and President William Ruto to find solution to the issues bedeviling the country, he is already talking about a handshake. He's talking about a nusu mkate and power sharing, which Raila Odinga and Azimio team have completely said that that is not any of our agenda that we would want to discuss with you. And you listen to what Raila Odinga was saying, that President Samia Suluhu Hassan was in the country at the invitation of President William Ruto. This tells you that from the onset, William Ruto had panicked and he wanted a mediator. And the only thing that happens here is that the infighting between these members of this party led to him not meeting Suluhu Hassan, as it were. I also tried to look at how other people have commented regarding that. And this is what Kabogo said immediately after the president had tweeted that. In fact, it stands out as the first reply that President William Ruto got on the tweet. Kabogo says, the reality today is that we are all interdependent and have to coexist in this small planet. Therefore, the only sensible and intelligent way of resolving differences and clashes of interests, whether between individuals or nations, is through dialogue. That was a quote from Dalai Lama. And William Kabogo spoke about it. I can tell you that Mount Kenya has some hardliners, but one of them who is not having that hardline stance and has been very open to any form of government that comes in the country is Mr. Kabogo. Kabogo says dialogue is the only way. Listen to what lawyer Donald Kipkorir says about that tweet. He says, the president is the embodiment of our nationhood. When President William Ruto tells Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga that his phone is open, Baba should call it. Nelson Mandela and F.W. de Klerk are towering giants because they crossed unfathomable political chasm to embrace. Many zeolites on both sides won't support and embrace this. But Kenya is bigger than those self-serving ministers and MPs. Let Ruto and Raila embrace. Through those opposed can be given a rope to hang. I can tell you, Kenya Kwanza hardliners. I don't know where Kimani Ichung'wah is right now. I don't know where Rigathi Gachagua is sleeping right now. I do not know where Moses Kuria is hiding right now. They were surprised by the tweet. And one thing that confirms to you, the tweet was signed by William Ruto because it was tweeted and says WSR, meaning it is him who has tweeted. This was not any kind of a joke that Itumbi has tweeted for him or any handler. It is something that he talked about himself personally. So as we look at it, President William Ruto is ready to meet Raila Odinga, and Raila Odinga also said that he's always ready for dialogue for the contentious issues to be resolved and resolved fast. I don't know what you think, whether this dialogue will come into fruition, whether Raila Odinga will accept to go and sit with William Ruto, and who will pick the first call to call the other. Because it seems they had called a mediator, Raila Odinga went, and Otiende Amolo today confirmed that Suluhu Hassan was in the country, and Otiende Amolo and him, Baba, they went to meet the president of Tanzania. I don't know what is going to come out at the end of the day, but this is a good sign for me, because if we can find a way of cooling political temperatures in the country, we can have a way of going forward. But one thing that Raila Odinga and his team must be very careful about is ensure that the main issue to be discussed is issues about cost of living and other issues that Kenyans are complaining about. Because if you turn this into a personal gain, automatically Kenyans will now come and deal with both of you together. That's my take, that's my analysis. I don't know what you think about it. Let's see how things turn out and how Kenya will go ahead. Please remember to subscribe to this channel and always like that video so that we get to communicate with a greater audience. Thank you. May God bless you. Thank you.